Hi there, welcome back to the Community of Readers video blog. We're following the Old Testament readings for the Monkey Bar Challenge. This week we're looking at the second half of 1 Kings right through to the middle of 2 Kings. This is called No Quick Fixes. With King Solomon gone, the nation of Israel is divided into the larger, more powerful nation, still called Israel, in the north, and the smaller, though ultimately more significant, nation of Judah in the south. The story follows the prophet Elijah and the controversial king Ahab through the remainder of 1 Kings, and once we reach 2 Kings we follow their successors. For Elijah there is Elisha the prophet, and for Ahab there is a whole string of kings, even the best of whom fail to dazzle. It's a kind of ongoing debacle, really, of leadership. Priest, prophet and king are in perpetual tussle. The priests of Levi and the priests of Baal battle it out. King Ahab tries to follow Yahweh, but somehow, for some reason, among them a very dodgy wife and clearly a lack of guts, he never seems to quite be able to turn away from the cult of the Baal. It's a kind of epic episode of spectacular mediocrity. The monarchy is weak in its leadership. Who will lead the people? Now, from a historical point of view, this pretty large chunk of narrative forms an important slice of the story. The Book of Kings as a whole is around 350 years. We've covered 200 so far, and it ends with the nation of Israel going into exile in Assyria. The story is a judgment, a damning judgment, on Israel's fidelity to Yahweh. How well had she kept the covenant? The answer that 1 Kings gives is not well. Not well at all, and that is the reason for her exile. This story was almost certainly penned or finalised during the exile, as people wrestled with what had happened. Why did we end up in this predicament? And how could we avoid it happening again? I don't know about you, as I read these stories through 21st century Western Christian eyes, I just find some of them laughable when they're not enough to make me cry. So what nation exalts a man who calls down curses on a bunch of youths so that a bear mauls them? That's what Elijah did in 2 Kings 2, 23 and 24. What kind of people would sacrifice their children to a metal bull? That's what happens in 2 Kings 3, 27. Why would you uphold a pagan cult where people cut themselves until they bleed everywhere? That's what happens in 1 Kings 18 verse 28. You know, for all our failings, our demythologized post-Christian world at least doesn't go in for those kinds of atrocities. But we do face power struggles. Often they're less bloodthirsty, though perhaps they are by no means less dangerous and damaging. We all too often dance with greed. We forget our Creator and offer our lives up in service to some invisible idol, a god of our own making. There'll always be conflict between those who want to do what is right and those who have the power. With power comes responsibility. Many a leader, like the kings of Israel, have shirked that responsibility. Many will prioritise expedient success, a quick fix to a problem. It's the folly of power, demonstrated daily around the world. Quick fixes don't fix anything. And Israel's kings are no different. And indeed, it appears neither are their prophets. Judgment flows too freely. So Elisha and Gehazi, for example, is a story in 2 Kings chapter 5. And restraint is sometimes lacking, 2 Kings 8. The problem with Israel's fickle relationship to Yahweh was not just that she worshipped these bull deities or followed the Baals, though that was a problem, and many of these the rites and rituals associated with those were genuinely evil, and it was imperative that Israel lived a different way and had a different religious life. But because of the covenant with Yahweh that shaped her entire national identity, shaped the story in which she understood herself to be a primary actor, fidelity to Yahweh, commitment, was fundamental. And so to play fast and loose with that covenant, to be in one day and out the next, that was not a way to make Israel's religion work, to make that relationship with Yahweh work. And so the book of Kings records the judgment upon Israel as a result of that quick fix mentality. A lack of perseverance, commitment to the relationship in the long term. I guess as readers of this ill-fated saga, we should let Kings hold a mirror up to us. Some of our lunacies are perhaps less pronounced. Perhaps some of our evils are quieter, less obviously bloodthirsty. But our hearts may be just as easily turned. Our commitment may just as easily waver and give us the chance. We may just as easily turn away. What is the point of faith if there is no commitment and no relationship? Is it real, really, if we can't stick it out when things aren't going our way? Covenant with God under the new covenant is about relationship. And if we have no relationship, what do we have other than something self-serving? A self-serving existence. That really isn't something worth saving.